10k is a great distance for many runners. It's long enough to provide a serious challenge, but short enough that the training isn't going to completely take over your life. Running a 10k at max effort is seriously tough, but if you execute it well, it really is one of the best feelings ever, crossing the line, earning yourself that new PB. After watching this video, I know that's what you're going to be doing, because today I'm showing my best top tips on how to run at that 10k PB. We're going to go through all the training that you need to do, the sessions that help me run at 32:45, and some bonus race tactics as well, so stay tuned for those. So how long should you give yourself to train for the 10k? Well, ideally we're talking around about 10 weeks. That's exactly how long our training plans are that we have on at benparks.com, so check those out on the link down below. And this will allow for a proper build and then a short taper before race day. You can make some really good improvements in the 6 to 8 weeks if that's what you've got, but ideally we're talking about 10. The next thing you want to do is figure out where and when you're going to be racing your 10k, and then work backwards those 10 weeks to get to your starting point. Make sure that when you're searching for that flat and fast course, also find one where there's not too many turns that you've got to slow down for during the race as well. If you're not interested in getting an official 10k time, you just want to run a fast 10k in your local area, again, search out for some parks, search out for some traffic-free routes, anywhere where you're not going to get interrupted, because we can't stop during the 10k. It has to be 10k of continuous running. We'll list a few race organisers that we like to use down below. Yes, they're all in the UK. Let us know down in the comments where are the fastest 10k routes for you. Maybe put your location and where they are. Help out the community down below in the comments. Right, so what's a realistic time to aim for with where we're at? Well, of course, this will vary wildly from person to person. Newer runners are often able to make some more significant improvements in those early stages, whereas more experienced runners are likely to be already a little bit closer to their limit, so the improvement isn't going to be quite as much. But as a rough guide, what can you do? Well, if you're someone chasing a sub 60, you want to be around about in 1 hour 10 shape, or comfortable doing a sub 35k. Sub 50, we're talking around about sub 55 minute shape already, around about 25 minutes for the 5k. Sub 45, you want to be running around about sub 49 already, and sub 22:30 for the 5k. And if you want to get that sub 40, you want to be running around about 43 minutes before we start the training, or be comfortable running a sub 20 minute 5k. Now, what does weekly mileage look like for doing this training? How many times are we going to get out there? How many miles do we need to be running? Well, for a sub 60, we're talking about 3 to 4 runs a week, up to around about 22 miles or 35k. For a sub 50, we're talking 4 to 5 runs a week, up to about 35 miles. In those peak weeks, 56k per week. Sub 45, get a little bit faster now, got a little bit more training to do, about 4 to 5 runs a week, up to around about 40 miles, 64k in that peak week. And then finally, sub 40 minutes, we're talking 5 to 6 runs a week, up to around about 45 miles or 72k. One of the most important parts of training for a fast 10k is getting those weekly speed sessions, those intensity sessions, those reps, those intervals into our training. We need to get the body used to running at or even faster than our goal pace, and a great way of doing this is through these interval sessions. Now, we'd recommend setting aside at least 1 day a week for your speed session day. Traditionally, this is normally on a Tuesday, but it's whenever it falls for you, quite frankly. And then more experienced runners probably would have been putting a second speed session into their training, but we'll touch on that a little bit later on. Now, these workouts involve running at a hard effort for a particular time or distance, followed by a period of rest to recover. So to get the heart rate up and then recover, get it down. Heart rate up and then down. And these interval sessions are what really help boost that VO2 max, our fitness, to be able to compete at the 10k distance running really, really fast. So here's some example sessions that you can try when you're next out there. Of course, with all these runs, you want to start out by 10 to 15 minutes, very light jogging to get the body nice and warmed up. Maybe do some drills, proper warm-up routine to get the body ready to be running fast. Now, the first session I'd recommend trying out is 10 by 400 meters. And we're going to be running these 400 meters at our 5k current pace. And between these reps, we're going to be taking a 90-second walking recovery. Really good one to do on a track if you have that available to you, but don't worry if you don't, just getting it done in the local park will be fine. Second session, I'd recommend 6 by 4 minutes at around about our 10k goal pace, the pace we want to be running that race at the end of our training. Between these reps, we're taking a 2-minute walking recovery. And then finally, my favorite session for 10k running is what I call kick down Ks. They're basically K reps. We're doing the first 800 meters of these at our goal 10k pace, and then the final 200 meters of that K rep at our 5k pace, and then taking a 2-minute recovery between this. And if you're training for a sub 60, do 4 reps of this, sub 50, 5 reps, sub 40, we're talking about 6 reps here. So nice and steady, fast finish for the rep, and then a 2-minute recovery. So it really is the best of both worlds with this one. A little bit more fun and interesting, and gets you used to increasing the effort towards the end of the rep, which is what we need to be doing when we're running that 10k. Now, your local running club might well put on a weekly speed session. Maybe that's something you can check out. Speak to them if you're not a member of a running club. We always recommend joining, making some new friends in your local running community. As I said at the start, you don't have to be doing these on a running track. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't want to, there's not one near you. Just getting somewhere nice, traffic-free, local parks, local cycle paths, canal tow paths, whatever you've got available near you where you can run uninterrupted. That's the best thing. Quickly, guys, if you're finding this video useful, please smash that like button and share it with a friend that wants to run a faster 10k, and let us know down in the comments what your 10k PB is and where you would like to get it to as well. If you've got time, please check out my website, benparks.com. We've got amazing running hats, technical gear, casual gear to power you through those training miles and get it done in races as well. Right, back to the 10k tips. Now, most GPS watches, I don't tend to wear one day to day, but I do for my running, and I normally like to program my workouts into my watch, and then I follow it along as they go. Garmin, Coros, whatever it is, I recommend putting these workouts into your watch. One less thing to think about when you're out there getting your runs done. Now, as I touched on before, if you are a more experienced runner, maybe you're looking to train for around about a sub 45, sub 40, 10k run here, you may want to include a second speed session during the week. If you're in this camp, focus on that first speed session on the Tuesday, maybe doing some shorter reps, the 10 by 400, something like that. Then the second session, maybe Thursday, Friday, something like that, we're going to be doing some longer reps. So maybe some K reps here, some mile reps, or maybe even a 20-minute tempo run later in the week on that Thursday or Friday. This will just help to push that fitness up even more. You're a bit more of an experienced runner, you've got some good leg strength already, you're used to doing some higher mileage weeks, so that's when we can start to really push our fitness forward by doing this second session during the week. Another key part of this, and so many people ignore this, so please don't, but look at getting some strides into your weekly routine. At least once a week we want to be doing some strides. Now, it's really easy to incorporate this. You can do this after an easy run as part of your warm-up before you go and do a session. But basically, these are 20 seconds running around about 90% effort. So really, really fast, high cadence, high turnover. And as I say, maybe do these before your session as part of your warm-up or at the end of an easy run. Now, if you're new to strides, start out with maybe 4 reps, intermediate 5 reps, more advanced 6 reps, and then just take around a 20 to 30 second walk between each one. Really important when you're going through these, focus on good form, staying in control, then just a gradual acceleration up. These are a really good way to recruit some more fast twitch muscle fibers when you need that sprint finish at the end of that 10K. And they also help at building some strength and improve our running economy as well. The more efficiently we can get to point A to point B, the less energy we will use during that 10K and the faster we can run. It's really quite difficult to run with bad form when you're going that all-out pace, so it really helps unlock some free speed, so definitely get those strides into your weekly routine. Another key aspect of our running week is getting those long runs and those easy runs here. This is when we're really going to build that endurance, build that engine that we need to be running at a very fast pace for 40, 45, 50, 60 minutes or so. It's going to require a big effort, and we need to build that endurance. The speed sessions really put a lot of stress on the body. We need time to let that recovery set in, to adapt. So the rest of the week outside the speed sessions, we need to keep this at a nice low intensity. If every day was a speed session, we would get injured very, very quickly. So we need to get a good mix of paces throughout the week. Now, for your long runs, I'd say if you're someone training for a sub 60, looking around about 5 to 8 miles for your long run. Sub 50, we're talking about 7 to 10 miles for the long run. Sub 40, we're talking about 9 to 12 miles for the long run. Now, in terms of the pace for these long runs, we want to be keeping them nice and relaxed, nice and conversational, easy pace, zone 2, the kind of pace you can chat to a friend at. As a rough guide, we'll put some recommended paces for that sub 40, sub 50, sub 60 recommended paces for our easy and our longer runs up on the screen now. Right, the fun is here. It's race day. We're ready to go. How are we going to go about attacking this 10K to get you your PB? With all racing, we want to avoid going too fast and blowing up. This is what so many inexperienced runners do. They go out feeling all good, and by halfway they're absolutely gassed and they're walking it in. I've done it many times myself when I was learning, but I've learned the proper way of pacing races now, and that's what we're going to go through. What a lot of people like to do is start out slightly easier than goal pace, then move to goal pace, and then move ahead of goal pace. So averaged overall is your goal pace, but you start out nice and relaxed and just build into it gradually, and then that fast finish to get your time. Now what I prefer to do is aim for even pacing throughout, and then that final K, just give it everything I've got, throw the kitchen sink at it for that final K. There's not one way that's right or one way that's wrong. There's definitely one way that's wrong, is going out too fast and then tailing off at the end, going through a slow, sorry death, because that never results in a fast time. Now, if there are some paces in your event, then it can be a really good idea to stick with them, as this really does take away a lot of the guesswork and that hard work. If you're not sure about your watch, you just want to rely on someone else. Stick in the pacing group if they're offering it. Now, with regards to fueling and hydration, it's a little bit harder with 10K. Some people like it, some people don't. I'd say definitely make sure you're nice and hydrated. Maybe have a gel on the start line before you go off. And then for me, if it's a hot day, I'm going to be taking a couple of cups going around, just sipping, drink to thirst. There's no need to chug a load of liquids down as we go. Gels, a little bit more of a personal preference here. Some runners will really like something around about that 30-minute mark to really help sort of spur them through in that back end of the race. Other people will just go all the way through without needing anything. Remember the golden rule here, don't try anything new on race day. Use what you practice in training. Another top tip I like to say is use your lap pace on your watch rather than the overall pace for the whole event. If you've got auto laps turned on, these are going to be going off at every mile or every kilometre. It's just going to be telling you the pace of that mile or that K that you're in. That's all I like to look at, and I just make sure I'm running the right pace for that particular K. This sort of takes away the errors with some potential GPS issues over the course of the whole run. Just focus on that moment, focus on what you're doing right here, right now, just making sure you're running at that right pace. Now, running a 10K flat out is really hard. I think it's one of potentially the hardest distances, but it feels so good when you cross that finish line and get it done. Now, if you do need a little bit more guidance on training, then check out our 10K plans. We'll link to them all down below. All the beginner plans are completely free to download. And if you're interested in running that sub 40-minute 10K, then check out this video up here next. So that's it, guys. Keep on working hard, keep on doing. Let me know when you're next running a 10K, what time you're hoping for, what your PB is. That's it. We'll see you very soon and good luck in the next one.